In a rumor that makes the rounds every so often, Bethesda will apparently be showcasing Starfield at its E3 2017 presser. This is according to a leaker on 4chan who also claims that Bethesda Game Studios is working on a Game of Thrones RPG with HBO. As for Starfield, the game will apparently be set very far into the Fallout universe's future, with a central hub world, 5 to 10 races, and space travel. It also seems that some of the worlds will use random generation. Along with Fallout 4 VR, Starfield is expected to be the other big announcement from Bethesda Game Studios. Starfield was registered as a trademark by ZeniMax several years ago, and has apparently been in production since Fallout 3. However, it only properly began development when Fallout 4's DLC was finished, according to the leaker that is. Since no one has been able to verify these claims, it's best to take them with a grain of salt. Bethesda has confirmed 2 new IPs in development that will be fairly large, but whether one of them is Starfield or not has not been confirmed. The Xbox Scorpio has 12 GB of GDDR5 RAM, which is 4 GB more than the standard Xbox One. On the standard Xbox One, 5 GB of that was available for games and the remaining 3 GB saved for the system itself. On the Scorpio, 8 GB was reserved for games and 4 GB reserved for the system and OS. However, that has now changed. According to a tweet from Mike Ybarra, Microsoft has now freed up an additional GB of memory for developers, meaning they can now use 9 GB of GDDR5 memory. This is almost double the memory that is available on the PS4, Xbox One, and Xbox One S. And it's more than the memory available to developers on the PS4 Pro as well. 9 GB of usable memory is a lot, and it should remove any bottlenecks the developers might have run into. Though of course, the CPU being Jaguar remains a very real constraint still. This further adds to the Scorpio's entire aura of being the most powerful console ever made. Now, let's hope developers actually leverage all that hardware properly. Microsoft is gearing up for battle this year at E3 2017. While the company's pressers have typically been 90 minutes, the presentation this year will apparently run for longer. As per Xbox boss Phil Spencer on Twitter, Xbox Briefing Sunday will likely run longer than our traditional 90 minutes. For those recording, just a heads up. We know that games like Sea of Thieves, Crackdown 3, 343 Industries' Little Something, State of Decay 2, and so on will be appearing at Microsoft's presser. There's also the hope that during its ID at Xbox segment, we'll finally receive release dates for long-delayed indie titles like Cuphead and Below. And of course, Microsoft will also be unveiling Projekt Scorpio, its price, design, and ideally its release date, currently slated for holiday 2017. Microsoft's E3 presser takes place at 2 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday, June 11th. CD Projekt Red became widely visible and beloved in the public eye thanks to the success of 2015's The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So of course, all eyes were on them and their next game, the upcoming Cyberpunk action RPG, Cyberpunk 2077. That game is still under development, and it isn't due to launch anytime soon. Posting on their Twitter, CD Projekt Red revealed that some older files for Cyberpunk 2077 have been stolen by some individuals who are holding them and demanding a ransom. Failure to meet this demand, they say, will lead to them leaking the files to the public. CD Projekt Red is currently working with the authorities, but it has informed everyone that it has no intent of paying the ransom. It is requesting its fans to not view these files when they're made available, and that's a sentiment we can abide with. If you're truly looking forward to the game, do yourself a favor by not viewing early design documents and files for it that may not even be representative of the final game at this point. Just wait for the game to be out and keep the surprise maintained. With all the nonsense about characters, supers, and loadouts in previous Call of Duty titles, how does Call of Duty World War II handle its create-a-class system? As it turns out, it doesn't have one. Instead, it will be replaced by a system called the Divisions. Ubisoft massive haters, be still. As per Sledgehammer Games boss Glenn Schofield on PlayStation Blog, the Division system will see players choosing from 5 different World War II divisions. Each of these have different types of combat training, division training, and weapons skills. The divisions will define how you invest in your career. Though more information is yet to be provided on this, it could be that certain divisions will be better at some tasks than others. Demolitions, for example, could be better with explosives and heavy weapons. Schofield also discussed the new War mode and noted that it was an asymmetric battle with a narrative. Allied and Axis soldiers clash in team-driven assault and defend gameplay in the fight for strategic objectives. We partner with Raven Software for development on War mode. Call of Duty World War II is due to release on November 3rd for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. Fans of Kojima don't expect too much from the auteur game maker at E3 this year. Hideo Kojima has confirmed on Twitter that his eagerly anticipated upcoming action game, Death Stranding, will not be at E3 this year. For fans who were probably hoping for a bit of an update on the title, this may come as a bit of a bummer. The game was revealed at E3 last year with the cryptic teaser and then shown off in some more detail at the PlayStation Experience with an almost as cryptic trailer. The title, which is releasing exclusively on the PS4, followed by a PC release at some point, features well-known actors Norman Reedus and Mads Mikkelsen. So for now, we're unlikely to learn more about Death Stranding in any major capacity. Still, Kojima likes having a drip feed of information, so who knows, we may randomly get to learn something important about it in the weeks after E3 anyway. Whenever that happens, we'll be the first to let you know. A steady stream of high-profile writers have been leaving Valve in the last few months. Chet Falizik, who worked on Portal, Left 4 Dead, and Half-Life, left Valve after more than 12 years with the company. Prior to that, Valve writer Mark Laidlaw also left. He's been with the company since the very beginning and is the sole writer on Half-Life and Half-Life 2. And earlier this year, Portal, Left 4 Dead, and Half-Life writer Eric Wolpaw also left Valve. Now there is a fourth name to add to the list. Jay Pinkerton, whose most notable credit is Portal 2, has left Valve after having worked with the company for almost 10 years. Pinkerton made this announcement on his Facebook. Little else is known about his departure, including the exact circumstances pertaining to it. The departure of all these writers is important because it seems to reinforce the notion that Valve is no longer interested in creating major single-player experiences of the kind that it once pioneered and that it was once defined by. Most notably, this seems to put a dampener on any Half-Life 3 dreams fans may still be holding on to. It's a shame, but it may be time to let the dream die, folks. Sony's Jim Ryan made some rather arrogant comments about backward compatibility on consoles. Speaking to Time, Ryan said, "When we've dabbled with backwards compatibility, I could say it's one of those features that's much requested, but not actually used much. That, and I was at a Gran Turismo event recently where they had PS1, PS2, PS3, and PS4 games, and the PS1 and PS2 games, they looked ancient. Like, why would anybody play this?" The comments stand as especially pertinent because rival Xbox has made backwards compatibility a defining feature for the Xbox One, while the PS4 conspicuously lacks this functionality. Speaking on Twitter in response to Ryan's comments, Mike Ybarra, the corporate VP of Xbox, shared his thoughts on the matter. "Disagree. We want gamers to play the best games of the past, current, and future. It's what gamers have asked for," he said. Of course, given the success of backwards compatibility on Xbox One, especially with the sales surges that games like Red Dead Redemption and Call of Duty Black Ops 2 have seen via a re-release on the service, it's hard to argue with that stance. Not that I understand why anyone would want to argue such a pro-consumer additive feature in the first place, but hey, that's the console wars for you. That'll be it for this video. If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.